But first...
Lekker and fearless, we came to take one.
Bang!
Do's and don'ts.
Now you've seen behind the veil there, you've seen behind the... You know what's happening, it's the magic. That's the magic, look.
Oh no!
So... Get used to it. Right. Who did we say is having readings? We said there was going to be... Did I say I was going to do one? I said I was going to do one for something. We're going to do one for Peter Faulding and for Kelly. We're going to do one for Peter Faulding and for Kelly. We're going to do fun readings tonight. So don't get all het up if you don't get your reading or you do whatever. It's just a bit of fun. Just a bit of fun. We'll do Peter Faulding and Kelly, yeah? So usually I do 3 cards for past, present and future, and you can do like a spread for the different signs of the zodiac. But I suggest we do 1 card for the sonar, 1 card for the boat, and actually I should have cut my nails for this. I'm going to have grotty nails. No. That's not acceptable, is it? I've been out walking the dog and messing about today. They won't be freshly cut, but they won't, I'm not going to have them dirty. This used to annoy me for ASMR stuff, because like, I'm not like a hand model, but like, you know, I don't want to have grotty nails, do I? But if you go out walking the dog and messing around and going in the woods and stuff, like, you know, you're going to get a bit of dirt under your nails from time to time. I just keep them clipped. And I've drawn attention to it, they'll all be like, oh, he's look at his nails. Not that bad. Not that bad. Just like a man's nails, really. Just a little bit long, look. Just a little bit long, but they're not. I think we're okay. We'll be able to do this. So I wonder what sort of like, I kind of want to do it, like, you know, make up my own vibe here. I kind of want to do a couple of like cards for Peter and the sonar. I want to do a card for Kelly and like Peter's, like, you know, a connection card, and then like a sort of portent for the future section. Listen, Bark, you're gonna have to pipe down, Bark. Bark's getting eggy, going for it. And I kind of like to like lay them out, but I haven't got any like signifiers of these things. Like, I haven't got a little, you know, symbolic. Just looking around to see if I can find something that might be symbolic of any of this. So what I've got, I haven't got anything planned, so I've got a fish. I've got some Genshin Impact cards and stickers. Some stickers from Genshin Impact. So, it's not. It's not really, it has no significance for Peter Faulding or anything like that. Just imagine this is the sonar boat. Well, that could be the body, look, that could be the body. Oh, and this is the fishies going past. I could do more of these streams with stuff like this, just like messing about, look. What's on the news now? Telegram founder arrested for CP. Yeah, what, is that a surprise? Telegram's full of all the worst people, isn't it? Don't all they all use the Telegram for, like, that's what it's for, isn't it? All those people on Telegram are all the fucking weirdos. It's like the criminals, like, I mean, WhatsApp isn't as bad, but people use certain apps, don't they? Like, they're kind of known for it. Wasn't Alan on Telegram? I think Alan used to be on Telegram. Probably still is. Yeah. Probably still is. I'm looking through the pictures. I've got Genshin stickers. They're really cool. Some of them. Stickers. I'm looking to see if I've got one that looks like a boat. Right. Have I got one that can be Peter Faulding as well? There's Kaya. I don't like Kaya. He can be Peter Faulding. Right. There's Peter Faulding. This thing is the body in the water. I also want one for the sonar itself. I don't know why. I just do. Got this feeling. So this picture of Zhongli with a fish is the sonar. So that's Peter, the sonar. This is how it's going to work. Peter, the sonar, the body in the water. Over here we've got Kelly, represented by Barbara, who's a star in the land of Mondstadt. Yeah, actually I've got a detective here somewhere maybe as well. We're not detectives, are we? I've got a chef. She's a singing star. We can have an alchemist. I'm happy with my choice there. These two I just got out because they look good. They're nothing. But that's this is Peter Faulding in his boat. Peter Faulding, the sonar boat, the body in the water. Kelly in the few, you know, because Kelly's doing this is Kelly oriented. We'll do a few cards in that area, and I also want to do one for like Peter Faulding connected to the dark arts. We'll put this picture of Diluk. That can be is Peter Faulding connected to the. Okay, Diluk's not a baddie. I've got a child there. He's a baddie. Yeah, that's it. Is Peter Faulding connected to the dark arts there? What else should we ask? I want to put little stickers for the signifiers. I'm quite happy with this setup. Get investigative social journalist, right? Well, singing star isn't. I don't think I've got an investigative social journalist sticker, you see. But, like, alchemist isn't right, is it? Right, they're characters from a video game, so there's not so many investigative journalists. Although there is one, but I don't have a sticker of her. Sign. This one works at a funeral director. Anyway. Anyway. Let's start reading some cards. Let's start pulling some cards. So first of all, in our spread, this is how it's done these days. These can be something, we can bring these in later. First thing is the man himself, isn't it? Peter himself. In the middle of the whole thing. The Peter card. What do we need to know? I love it. I love it. What do we need to know about Peter Faulding? What do we need to know about... Let me just check if all the cards are upside down or not before I go. Like, no, they're mainly the right way up. A couple might be the wrong way up. That's okay. What do we need to know about Peter Faulding? What do we need to know about Peter Faulding, the man? His history, his character, Peter Faulding, the man. This card is really sticking out here. So there's Peter Faulding, the man. First card. And we can pull more cards on top of it with an additional deck as well. We've got that facility. So there's Peter Faulding, the man, right? Next card I want, and I'm going to put this one sideways, so I will read it as an upright mainly. Next card is the sonar boat. The sonar boat. What do we need to know about Peter Faulding, the sonar boat? And I was drawn to the cat cards today for a bit of fun. You know, cats like playing, don't they? So what do we need to know about the sonar boat? And oh, that's come out. There's a load of cards come out there. Right, the moon is the top one, so I'm going to put that in. And I said I was going to put it sideways, but these have all come out as well, so I'm going to put those with it. And I'm going to say, tell me the story later, yeah? That's the sonar boat. They're the cards that came out. They all came out, and I'm going to just go with it. The body in the river. Specifically, I'm talking about Nicola Bully, really, I think. You know, his search for Nicola Bully, but the body in the river. What do we need to know about Peter Faulding and the body in the river? And we've already lost a few cards from this deck, so you know the options are going to be more limited in the deck. So maybe its ability to tell its story is going to reduce. So maybe we'll have to come back and add more cards to this. So just give me a card, you know, give me a start point for the body in the river. Here, let me just... they all want to stay in the deck. They're all feeling really comfortably, shuffling nicely. This just sort of started to come out to me. There's my body in the river card. Then I want a connection to Kelly. And the cards here are just sort of asking me to cut them like that. This fell out, this top one. There's my connection to Kelly card. In terms of what's going on, Peter Faulding, how's he feeling about Kelly? You know, what is his vibe out to, you know, his projection out towards Kelly, you know, sort of thing. I'm not saying they're connected. You know, if that card comes out to be like, Peter's paying you. I'm not going to think that. Down here, Peter's connection to the dark arts. Like, when I say connection, I mean like his mental energy connection, you know, what he's putting out there towards the world of it. And there's Kelly up there. This is Peter in the dark arts. Okay, we'll give it another shuffle. Like, is Peter connected to the dark arts? What are the dark arts? Where are we going with this? What are we talking about? Talking about bad connections. We're talking about feelings. What do we need to know about Peter Faulding and the dark arts? What do we need to know about Peter Faulding and the dark arts? It's a bit of a loaded question, a bit like using a deck of cards that are all associated with murder and stuff that were designed by a YouTuber to predict anything, right? Yeah, like, what do we need to know about Peter Faulding and the dark arts? What do we need to know? What do we need to know? Oh, there we go. You won't believe this. Honestly, you just seen that happen. I'm doing it in front of camera. Look at what's just happened. I don't want to do any more, and thankfully I don't have to. We can let those cards just rest there now. Because what the fuck? That happened. You were watching me shuffle them. I've got a gift for this. I've got a magic gift. I joke about it, but like, some people take this seriously, and I think there's something in this. Wonderful Debs was talking to me, you know, before, long time before. I think there's something in this. If you do have a true gift and you give it away, that's what a gift is. You give it away, yeah? And then I think you get access to the gift. But I think if you start to grift off the gift, then the gift goes away. Don't think you really have the gift then. There's a lot of people who pretend to have the gift, but they don't really have the gift. I've got the gift. You can't argue I don't have the gift. That's the gift. There it is, and I give it away. There's no charge for this reading. You're not being encouraged to sign up to my website. I don't want any of your personal details. Giving the gift away. We'll get to that in a minute. Obviously the devil doesn't mean everything bad. It does in this case. Fucking does in this case. It doesn't just mean anything bad, everything bad. What's that? It's a fish. Yeah, it's because we're underwater, because we're doing Peter Faulding's reading. So, like, fish goes past sometimes. Just don't worry about it. Right, first card, Peter Faulding. We've got the Lovers. This is Peter's core card in the middle, and I said we could draw cards on top of it. But it's about partnership, it's about union. It's a major arcana. I wouldn't have expected something so lovely. You know, something so nice. Love, unions, partnerships, relationships, choices, romance, balance, and unity. Balance, harmony between two opposing forces. It could mean perfectionism. Okay, for the card itself here as well, we've got this bright, shining sun, and these two cats are very happy and content against what appears to be a green, like could be a blanket or something, you know, but it also looks like fields to me. And they're different colours, these cats. One's a sort of cool tone and one's a warm tone, but they're both quite similar cats really, but they're supposed to represent a sort of, you know, opposing forces, warm tone and cool tone, but they're happy and snuggly. They're having a good snuggle in the warm sunshine. Lovely, lovely bright day. The Lovers. It could mean financial decisions need to be made. If you pulled it in a reading. But it also talks about relationships open you up to risk. So make sure that you understand the risks when it comes to working with other people in a very close proximity like this. As a core card for me, like in our reading here, I'm going to say that what it says to me is that Peter himself is not an individual, that he is very much somebody who works with other people, like, and he seems like a very, what's the word, like, I know what I'm trying to say here, but I need to get it out of my brain, and then I'll read some cards on top of it with the Golden Girls cards. But the concept for me is about how, like, you can be an individual walking the land your own way, doing things your own way, you know, just going your own way in life, can't you? And then you can be a different kind of person that falls into line and is part of a group and sort of blends into the background a little bit. And like Peter Faulding might seem like the big one out front with the high vis, and you know, he's a bit of a character, you know, a bit of an individual, the leader of the company and stuff, but actually he's just a very like generic sort of person, isn't he? Like one of the squad in the army, one of the people in that group, one of the men on the lines with the high vis, like blending in by being the same as everyone else. And even when he's doing the searching and stuff, like he just looked like one of the search and rescue men. He didn't look like the running of the company man until he stood at the front and did all the answering the questions. If you just saw him on the boat, and we all took it for granted because he's wearing that high vis and he's just a man that's going on a boat, that he's just doing the search like a normal person would. You know, it's almost like a sort of by giving up a part of your personality to the wider group, to being a stereotype, then like you lose a part of your identity, but you gain that ability to just become what people think you are. So the lovers here representing this union, like being part of a group, being, you know, symbolizing partnership. I'm saying, like, you know, being part of the army, being part of the, well, he wasn't in the army for propers, was he? But you know what I mean? Obviously being a veteran means that you've had active service during a war, active service during conflict, you know, active service. That's what a veteran means. So I don't think you'd call Peter Faulding a veteran because he did some training with the Paras or whatever, but you know, that sort of concept of being more at home as part of an organised group rather than as an individual walking your own path. That's what I'm drawing from this card. And also a balance between harmony of two forces, like a good and evil. Like, not everything Peter Faulding has done, I'll even shout this out, has been completely evil. You know, that's the sort of wolf, the sheep's clothing the wolf hides behind, isn't it? That he's doing good things by society and helping out with the old, you know, and stuff that he does with the helicopters and the coquette, sorry, the life jackets. You know, but like realistically, there's a balance between good and evil going on, isn't there? Like, the business might look like it's good doing these things, but remember when he took Huntington and Life Sciences off the fucking list of his achievements? So there's definitely a balance between good and evil and the public perception of it. And I'll tell you something else as well. This is the cats cards. The cats in this picture are sleeping and looking very content and happy with each other, having a little cuddle, but doesn't mean they haven't been getting up to naughty, does it? Doesn't mean they haven't been going around doing naughty things. We all know that cats can do naughty things. Doesn't mean those cats have, you know, they're very content with themselves, but why are they looking so happy? What have they been doing, the naughty? Should we have a Golden Girls card for Peter Faulding? The man, the core concept. What do we need to know about Peter Faulding? What do we need to know about Peter Faulding? What do we need to know about my knickers? Right, there's the card. Oh! Oh! Oh, wow, we are having a card reading tonight, I tell you. Get your popcorn redis. Why can't I move this now? You know when you screw something in so tight and you don't know which way the screw goes and you're trying to... Surely it's there. Yeah, oh, there we go. Let's get it zoomed in. Get your popcorn redis. There you go. Right down to as closely zoomed in as I can. It's not a zoom lens. Get your popcorn redis. 7 of Swords. Now this 7 of Swords, espionage. Espionage. This is someone who is behind enemy lines and they're stealing the enemy's weapons. They're behind enemy lines. It's a man in black. In this case, it's Dorothy from the Golden Girls, but they're a man in black. There you are. Hang on, let me just get the... That's the full focal length there. That's the closest I can make it, is there. Any closer than go. Emergency, calling Dr. Beat. Emergency, calling Dr. Beat. Emergency. That's a really bad card. It basically says that Peter Faulding's a massive liar. I mean, I'm not. It's just not my. It's my opinion. It's just cards. You can't sue me. Remember. But we all know what this means. Well, I do, because I'm the best card reader on Twitch. Oh wait, hang on, am I on Twitch? Let me just put myself in the category again. Settings, stream manager, stream preview, edit stream info, not just chatting anymore, tarot. We're about to go into, everyone in chat ready? Because we're about to become the #1 tarot stream on Twitch. So just prepare yourself, because you're suddenly going to get a lot more visible. There's 51 viewers in the tarot section. I've got 35 in total on my stream. So I'm jumping in there with like a massive number of viewers compared to the section. So we're about to become the #1 tarot reader on Twitch. Here we go. So everyone on Twitch is going to be seeing us on top of the stream, top of the pile now. Okay. Well, we'll get onto the river bit. We've got that card. But first of all, espionage. Espionage. This is Peter the Core Man as well. This is the Core Man. It's just a bit of fun. But obviously this is legally binding and it means the truth. It's just a bit of fun. Lies, trickery, scheming, strategy, resourcefulness, sneakiness and cunning. The expression exudes confidence. They're assured on their success of the mission of stealing the swords. However, there are a group of soldiers who discovered the theft and one's raising a flag. Although that's not in this picture. In the Rider-Waite deck, they might not be getting away with it, but in this picture, I think the 2 swords that are behind the plant pot mean that they might not have completed their mission completely to satisfaction. I'm saying there. But it's definitely cloak and dagger nighttime, isn't it? It's about betrayal and deception. This is Peter the Man. Might be sneaking away from somewhere, a situation that's no longer working out. Sneaking away to somewhere else, sneaking around, sneaky lies and deception. If it was in the love category, it would be lies, deception, affairs, feeling suspicious. If it was in career, it would be gossip, sabotage, jealousy at work. If it was in finances, it's shady business, deals and fraud. It's just the bad, really bad. So, I didn't make it happen. It's not my doing. That's Peter Faulding the core concept of the man. Put that back, actually. It's not the card's fault. Next, the sonar. What will these cards tell us about the story of the sonar? And that's a bit of a weird question to ask, isn't it? The sonar. Because what even is the sonar? Well, in this reading, it's represented by this little picture of this chuffer with holding a little fish. But the sonar itself, we've got the card the moon, and I did say I'm going to just put it upright, whatever the card is to start with. So let's put Peter the Man aside for a second, and let's move on. Well, I'll put those cards aside so we'll remember what they are. Let's move on to the sonar, because we're going to come back to Peter the Man in connection with Kelly and what he's projecting out to her and how he feels about her in a minute, whether he's going to murder her or not. So this is the moon, and as we all know, the moon card, like we all know what the moon card is, don't we? So I don't have to check on the internet anymore. I just remember. I'm really good at this. I don't even have to have an app open on my phone where I quickly check what things are. I just know. We all know about the moon, don't we? The moon. It's about illusion, uncertainty and confusion, complexity and secrets, the unconscious. It's quite a famous card in the Tarot Rider-Waite deck, actually, because this little lobster, and they've included it on this cat deck, the little lobster. It's quite a strange card in the Rider-Waite deck, because the crawfish embarking on the path, the lunar light from the moon, the two different dogs barking. There's a lot going on, and some people try and take their meaning from the depiction of the image on the card, which is strange to me because these cards were developed before any meaning was attached to them in an esoteric manner as playing cards. But they try and attach a meaning to the image on the card. I mean, we obviously did with the Seven of Swords, but this is one of those that is like a little more complex. It's about imagination. It's about taking a path you're unsure of. It's about light and clarity. It's a bit of a funny one, actually, because it could be conceivably, we're talking about the sonar. The crawfish is usually depicted coming out of water. Here it's just on the grass, but usually it's depicted coming out of water. And these two dogs are sort of barking at the moon. The cat is not as prominent on the original moon card. But the cat here is like looking down at them with like curiosity, isn't it? If it was in finances, apparently, then it says don't make any big financial decisions. And the tarot, like, his sonar is quite a big financial thing for him, isn't it? It's an uncertain career path, this would indicate. Complicated romances, uncertainty around a career path, it's confusion, it's things are unclear about finances, and it's a very apt card for his sonar, isn't it? It's a very apt card. And also the nighttime aspect. So obviously the moon is very, evocative of nighttime, isn't it? And like we just wonder about this nighttime search and these nighttime dives and stuff like that, don't we? The two dogs barking at each other, I'm still not quite in my head about what that is. On one side of the path is a wolf, and one side is a dog, representing our animalistic nature. One is civilized, and the other's wild and feral. And they're sort of at loggerheads and a bit excited by this whole scene. So I'd say that's about emotions, really. Everything in this card seems to echo the other, as if to allude to two possibilities. A line between conscious and unconscious, between the tamed civilization and the forces of nature represented by the wolf. Like a line between the two, and this, like the sonar is towed on a line. And when I was doing this, I was saying about, these representations by having things like this, I was imagining that, have we have the, in chat, you can do Peter Faulding and you can do the boat. I was imagining that rope between the two. This is like, that line between the two, between reality and illusion. It's all there on the screen, but what's really down there? And look at the cat looking down there. Looking down there at the difference between civilized behaviour and animalistic nature. I don't know, the crawfish coming out as well, like, is supposed to be about the subconscious, which is about what's under the surface. Oh yeah, I didn't mention as well, in the Rider-Waite cards, there's two towers, and they represent forces of good and evil as well. About passing through a sort of cosmic gate in a way. The difficulties we face distinguishing between the two. Like, it's about illusion between good and evil, between right and wrong, and your subconscious. Like, in your subconscious, you might say, well, I just want to do what I want to do, I'm an animal. But as a human civilized, I'm not going to go around punching people. And things like that. It's that sort of dichotomy between the animal and the civilized. And whilst this card isn't the same as the traditional Rider-Waite, there's a lot of complexity in that Rider-Waite card that is very difficult to draw on, and usually it's the sort of card that people say, oh, let's have another card on top of that. But here, for the sonar, for me, we've got other cards, they're already drawn, they're in my hands here, they're waiting to be turned over, and I think it all makes sense, though, as a concept. What's beneath the surface is unclear, and what's beneath the surface is sometimes primal anger and has to be kept in check. And we're looking beneath the surface for answers, and what comes up from the shadows, from the seabed, is sometimes confusing and not obvious, and the rights and the wrongs and the good and the evil seem to be a bit blurred. And that's the sonar. That's our opening card, and I've got these three here. So I don't know which order, like, they all fell out, and I don't know whether I should turn, because they were all the same way as this moon, like they're all like this. So I don't know if I should continue to go like this, or if I should turn them over and do it. But I think I'll go like this, the same way as they all were. They fell out like that, and I said, all right, that top one is my card, the moon, And then these other ones are going to go on top of it as the rest of the read, yeah? So next we've got the world. And we all know what the world means. I don't have to have an app on my phone just to check it. I'm the #1 fortune teller on Twitch, so... We all know what the world means. It's completion, achievement, fulfillment, a sense of belonging, wholeness and harmony. Success. It represents a completion. You've got all the elements: earth, fire, water and air. In this card you've got them represented by a little Chupa Chupa and a little Chuffy and the fire, and then a little fishy. And it is backed on blue here. The cat's on its back, playing with that bit of rope, adorning the garland. And it's almost like the cat's holding on, like, you know, it's almost like the cat's on its back like a body in the water as well, like the sonar here. You know, I'm asking about the sonar, and the sonar is success. Everything come together. Everything come together. Next card. And I'm holding them in my hand. This is just the cards. This is not me, you know. The Tower. That's everything going wrong. I'm not even going to give you a big analysis of it. It's everything going wrong. Lightning strike here. Again, dark outside. Evocative of the night, the dark. From the very start on that card, the difference between the light and the dark. The subconscious, the brightness of the moon, the light and the dark. We've got the brightness here of the light, but it is backed on a blue, but it's a light blue. It's still making me think of water. You know, and you've got the different elements. Fire, the mouse, the little bird. Little bird, little stool pigeon, little canary singing like a canary, little rat, fire, and a fishy, and the cat there. Like I said, like, you know, if it's sonar we're talking about, and his sonar, it's almost like the cat's being dragged along like the sonar, or maybe like, you know, lying on its back. You don't often see a cat lying on their back like that. It's very relaxed. It's at play, or you know, but it's a light card. It's like a daylight card, and then in contrast we've got the darkness, the striking of the lightning. And like when you find something on sonar, that is a bit like a strike of lightning, or you know, it could be like, you know, something. I think the sonar was going quite well. Like he was unsure about it all, like he himself, and it is uncertain, the whole thing. It's a risk, and then it's gone quite well, and everything's come together with the sonar. Like, and then there's been this disaster. Obviously we know what this disaster is now, don't we? This is all Nicky Bully and ever onwards, I'm going to suggest. But do you think there's a possibility that like what I'm feeling from this about the sonar is like Peter Faulding wasn't always a sonar expert. Like, you know, looking down into it here, making decisions and stuff, he wasn't always a sonar expert. In fact, like Peter Faulding was a potholer who happened upon like, wasn't it that his dad helped go and find someone who was down a pothole, and then he got into that, and then like, you know, like Peter Faulding didn't get up one morning and say, I'm going to use my skills to remove protesters, that's my duty in the world. But he happened to fall into it because he had expertise in going up trees, or using ropes, or whatever, or going down a hole. Well, you had expertise in going down a hole, and they dug themselves into holes, and then he sort of parlayed that into the same, like, oh, if they're up a tree, I'll do the same, you know, or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Self-taught, yeah. So, like, you know, it might be that this thing wasn't going so well, so we'll do this thing instead. You know, sonar expert is very different from potholer, and you can factor them all in and try and, you know, put a ring round them. But if it was YouTube channels, you know, they'd be quite different. So maybe the sonar was this risk that went well, everything came together, but has now turned into disaster. And this card was the final card on that, and it's an inverted 5 of... It's fucking cats, I don't know, it's cat bowls. Must be cups, mustn't it? Cat bowls. I think that's supposed to be the Five of Cups. Inverted. Which is going to be... it's going to basically mean, like, it would have been abundance and everything's gone well and you're happy and, like... I'm just checking, is that Five of Cups as well, because... I want to read the right card, because they're cat cards, you know, they could be other things, couldn't they? Five of Cups, yeah, it is. And as we all know, that's a warning card that there may be loss, sorrow, or departure. You know, it's about grief, as we all know. It was nothing to do with what I said about abundance. I wasn't saying that. That wasn't something I was saying. I'm the top #1 card reader on Twitch. I know all the cards by now. I'm not having to check in the book and check on the internet. This is about acceptance, moving on, finding peace, seeing positives. Inverted like that. It would be about caution and mindfulness and a portent of grief. But here it's about moving on to a different career. Relief from financial loss, rebuilding. On top of all these sonar things, like the sonar story here is, got into it as a bit of a risk, the unknown, all sorts of lights and darks, ifs and buts. Everything came together, but then it's all gone wrong. And now it's time to try and find the positives, salvage what you can, and just move on. I don't see him doing, I don't see Peter Faulding continuing to be a sonar expert in the future. In the same way as this story was about someone who, like I said, sonar expert at the start was not his, raison d'etre. So maybe this card read here is saying that he's had his little run at being a sonar expert. Maybe he better go back to removing protesters or find the next chapter in Peter Faulding's career. I think the next chapter is already confirmed as well. I think he wanted to get on. Well, I think he was going to try and get onto the television and become like a TV expert, so he wouldn't have to go out doing things anymore and let his business run itself. Let other people go out on the boats, and he was going to be TV expert. So I think he'll pull back certain aspects like TV expert. He's gone to that Crime Con. Maybe he's still on for selling the books in Crime Con, but he will push towards other arms of his business that are successful. He's got different ways his business runs, doesn't he? Different things they do. So he can now just push in a different direction and sort of abandon the sonar. But the cards are certainly saying it's time to. That's for sure. Peter and the sonar. Oosh. Right. What do you want next? Kelly's in charge of this, right? Do you want Peter and how he's projecting his energy towards you? When I say his connection to you, I don't think obviously I'm not saying is Peter connected to Kelly? What's going on? I'm saying his connection to you from his end, looking towards you. What would his energy and stuff like that be? Or do you want to go towards the body in the water? Because we're in sonar at the moment. We can go any direction you want. What do you feel is the right way to go? And I'll shuffle the cards. Let's do the body first. Okay. Let's do the body first. Right, this is our body card. That's our first card for the body, and I'm going to go on top with the Golden Girls cards as well. We've got a Three of Cups. A Three of Cups. Didn't we just have that? No, we just had a Five of Cups, didn't we? The Three of Cups is about celebration and community, isn't it? I think. It's a weird card to start with here. I think. I get into it and I start to take it seriously. Hang on. The Three of Cups is about friendship, community, gatherings, celebrations, group events, social events. When you draw the Three of Cups, you'll see three women lifting their cups in the air in a celebration of some sort. Good times are in the air. The three ladies have wreaths made of flowers in their hair. This is the traditional card, not this picture, but the ladies are also seen standing on top of a field of flowers and fruit, further adding to the joyful feelings in this card. There are feelings of beauty, growth, compassion and happiness the women share between each other. An interesting note. In the Rider-Waite, the woman in the middle is turned away from the reader, her face hidden from view. However, the two other maidens are seen smiling. I'd quite like to have the Rider-Waite image as well to show you what I'm talking about. I need to get a proper Rider-Waite deck, but that worries me a little. The woman in the middle's turning away and the others are smiling into the camera, sort of thing. I'm feeling a sort of like my psychic feeling about the Three of Cups here, like strongly. It's about happiness, though, forgetting your worries. It can also mean a celebration. Like, just taking a break for a second from the comedic just messing about that I'm doing. I feel if I wanted to, and late night tarot read, Scotty's magic journey, whatever. Like, in the daytime, if you took me into a police station, I'm not going to say. And also, I pulled some tarot cards and they said this. Like, I'm not going to say that in court, am I? But like, right here, what I'm feeling is the question I want to ask. The question that wants to come out of me is, did they get her drunk? Now, I doubt that she would have gone to the school run drunk, so I don't think I mean the same day school run. But am I talking about two ladies stood next to Nicola Bulley, drinking, they're all friends, they're all happy. In the photograph, they're smiling at the camera. Like, is that what I'm feeling from this, basically? Is about the ladies in her life that were her friends and smiling to the but maybe we're not really. It's about old college buddies, colleagues. It's about support networks. I'm feeling the Emma White and maybe one other, but in this card I've got two, and one's deep in the bowl having a lick, and the one bowl is here overflowing. Now this is really kind of weird as well. It's like, we're talking about water. Like, the body in the river is obviously we're talking about Nikki, I guess, but I wasn't trying to be disrespectful when I'm talking about her as the body in the river, but we're doing a Peter Faulding reading, I'm messing about, yeah? But no, I'm just taking it a little more seriously for a second. This bowl is, the person here is unseen. We don't know who they are, but their bowl is overflowing like water. It's supposed to mean abundance, but here, like, it takes on a different connotation because we're talking about somebody in the water. This is a big fat cat licking their lips, having a look around, while this one, more youthful, multicoloured, like, maybe this cat is one colour, this cat is two colours, but also the same dark colour as this one. So, like, they could be related, maybe. I'm not saying they're not or are, I don't know, but like, but this one seems to be younger and he's like head down in the bowl, eyes closed, just enjoying the moment, whereas this one's a bit more thoughtful, licking the lips, already fat. Like, and this third cat is just an empty bowl. Like, it's not empty, it's a full bowl, but there's no cat in shot. We've got wood panelling and a plant in a pot, indicating that we are in an interior environment here. But very, like, the painting on these cards is very beautiful. Like, they're very positive, like, playful art. But the watercolour here on this wood, these wood panels, and the watercolour is quite striking for some reason. Like, I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling the wood and like the water staining, I want to say, rather than watercolour. Like water staining on wood, like a wood floor. Like, if I do this, like, it's like a wood floor that's like got all the water splashed on it, and those cat ears almost look like a pair of feet looking down at the floor. Like, I'm looking down at a wood floor with like all water and almost like, I don't like it. It's almost like those Jay Slater feet poking out of his thing, isn't it? There's like a real feel to me about this card. Like, I talk a load of nonsense about psychic and all this stuff, yeah, but I have got the gift and like the magic psychic sense, and like, whilst I'm not feeling it really strongly at the moment, I'm not feeling like I'm having a strong intervention feeling. I just feel a bit strong about it. The way I would describe the psychic feeling is like a flaring in the nostrils or a watering of the eyes, like a sort of, you've smelled a really strong spice or something, and it's like got into your system, and it like has a sort of like reaction inside you, just behind the eyes. You saw a fence, you see a fence. I see what you mean as well, yeah, I see what you mean. See what you mean. I do, yeah. Like, there's a lot of feeling about this card that if it was just pictures of cats having a drink, it would be lovely. But because of the way we're relating it to what we're doing, it's got this real, like, edge to it. Like, strangely enough, this is a Peter Faulding read, yeah? And we've done the sonar, and it's told us about his business. Like, we've done the man, and it's told us that he's shady and, like, you know, as a character, as a person, you know, it's told us about the Seven of Swords. The question that I didn't say tell me about Peter's relationship to this. I did a bit, but you know, not when I said with Kelly, you know, I said tell me about Peter's energy going towards her. I said when about the Peter and the dark forces, I said tell me about Peter's energy going towards them. When I said this, I said tell me about the body in the water. I didn't say tell me about Peter and the sonar and the body in the water. I said tell me about the body in the water. And what I've got a picture of is like Emma White, and I've got that picture of that picture in the pub where Emma White and Nicola Bulley are raising their glasses and they're all happy and everyone's got a smile on. And I feel like the traditional Rider-Waite deck would have Nikki in the middle, not, you know, with her back to the idea that these people are smiling and raising their glasses, but they don't necessarily have her best interests at heart, I think. Although the card doesn't talk of that always, you know. The card talks about forgetting your worries, spending quality time with family and friends. So, no, maybe it's not about betrayal. We'll see what comes out of these cards in just a second. But what I would say is, like, I feel like the moment before Nikki died, or like, you know, I don't think there's like this. Okay, so different ideas. These are hypotheses. These are, you know, these are just things that we're talking about because we're doing cards. But if it was like an argument with Paul or something that happened in the house and just before she died, like, you know, something was going wrong and she was having a big row and all this, I just don't feel that energy from this. You know, I kind of feel a more sort of, you know, people think she slipped down the bank. You know, that would have been a surprise to her, but I feel like she was in a more happy, positive place, and what happened to her took her by surprise. Like, she was ambushed. Like, you know, in her mind it was raising the glass and having a smile, but and at that moment, you know, Nikki was having, like, this kind of resonates well with Nikki's story in her life, isn't it? You know, she was there's a lot of drinking involved here, but she was moving forward with her life. She was doing well at her work. Can you hear the helicopter going on? There's a helicopter going on. Peter Faulding is out now in the helicopter. He doesn't like this reading, so he's out now in the helicopter trying to disturb it. Yeah, there's a lot of positive going on in her life, though, wasn't it? A lot of celebration, a lot of gin, you know, big glasses, cheers. We're living the good life. Moved out of the, like, Nikki never lived in the city centre. Like, she'd always came from a more rural, small town sort of place, you know what I mean? But like, nearby St Michael's is Manchester, Liverpool, all the places in between and all the goings on in between. And I believe that people who do well and make a bit of money might move out from that into more rural areas. So she was actually living in a sort of you know, quite affluent, quite nice little place, wasn't she? You know, like living the dream, so to speak. Got the kids, got the job, got the, you know, cheers, everything like this. This speaks of that, you know. Yeah, that speaks of that. Okay, so more cards on this, please. Then more cards on Nikki, and specifically then, if we could, something to do with Peter Faulding in the boat, maybe. Something to do with Peter Faulding in the boat, or whatever you want to tell me. What do I need to know? What would you say? Where am I going with this? Should I choose? Oh, this one. The Ten of Swords. And here we've got Dorothy looking painfully out the window at night, and these flowers in the background, they almost look like reeds, like it's almost like she's underwater. Do you see what I'm saying? Those stars almost look like bubbles. These flowers in the background almost look like obviously because of what we're reading, but she appears to be in a bed or sat next to a bed or on a bed, and she's got this picture of a male. That's her fella, isn't it, in the Golden Girls? But there's 10 swords stabbed into the picture, and she's looking really pained out the window. And of course, as we all know, I'm making catchphrases for my thing. As we all know, the Ten of Swords, as we all know. Now listen, when this fell out, I wasn't sure whether I should turn it this way, that way, the other way. It could have come out inverted, or it fell out, so I just put it that way. And I felt confident about it, but it's upright. It means ruin, failure, bitterness, collapse, exhaustion, dead end, victimization, betrayal. It's one of the most ominous cards in the deck, and traditionally the Rider-Waite deck would depict a Ten of Swords showing a man lying flat on the ground with their face in the dirt, covered with a red cloth from the chest down to the legs. 10 swords are stabbed into his back. He may not have seen the end coming. There's a terrible stillness in the air. The sky above him is black and cloudy, indicating a fear and a negativity associated with death. The waters in front of him are still, no ripples, adding to the eerie stillness and finality of this card. Looking into the horizon, in the east, the sun is rising and the weather seems very calm, despite the darkness. The Ten of Swords seems to intimate that this is the lowest point in one's life, and it cannot get worse than this. Even, at least in this state, the sun is rising. Whereas in this, the sun doesn't look like it's rising, and the character is not a male on the back, but the male is depicted in this frame. You know, maybe it's like a soft way of saying already dead and she's pining from out the window, but I see this totally differently now. And this is about betrayal. This card's about being stabbed in the back, so to speak. Well, quite literally, I suppose. Well, not, literally, but the swords in the card indicate it, don't they? It's about ending in tragedy. It's about a total defeat for the spirit. Swords are a weapon that can have immense potential for destruction or good, but this is about someone who makes mistakes and then spends an entire lifetime trying to run away from the power that has been misused. This person believes the swords are external to him when they're part of him, and when they inevitably return, he once again suffers. His pain is not the pain of circumstances usually, but the pain of fear or anxiety, or not being able to master his surroundings. After the hopelessness of the Nine of Swords, what could have happened? Were you overwhelmed by the pressure, or did you take the final sword upon yourself and admit defeat? The Ten of Swords depicts that situation where your mentality is poor me. You feel like there's nothing you can do. Pause and remember that, as with the death card, there is something you can do to make a new beginning. Well, not in this case. This is ultimate defeat and failure. It feels like it was quite a happy space and quite a happy place, and now it's turned into being stabbed in the back. There's the male figure that in the Rider-Waite deck is the person that's stabbed, whereas here, yes, they're the person that's stabbed, but they're in the photograph almost like, stabbed by the swords metaphorically, and Dorothy appears to be beneath. Well, I would say it's almost like she's looking into, if you're like in a hotel and you're under the water and, your room is underwater and you can see out and it's a view of it's almost like she's in a room underwater, doesn't it? With these reads. I think that's very interesting. This is a stonker of a read, really. What else what you want to tell me? Magic forces. Ten of Cups inverted. And we all know what this means, don't we? Well, you bloody don't. An unhappy home, separation, domestic conflict, disharmony, isolation. It's clear the right way up would have been lovely. This is not that. It's not pointing towards Peter Faulding necessarily. Can I get a does this point towards Peter Faulding? We're doing the Peter Faulding read, the sonar, the finding of Nikki. So can I first of all get, does this whole setup, does this relate to Peter Faulding or Paul Ansell? Can you give me a more or indeed Nikki's family. Should I say Nikki's family and just widen it out like that? Is it Peter Faulding as a positive, or is it, you know, something else, her family as a negative? This is just dropped out, like, you know, you can see that, and it's the same, and it's pushing this way. Now look, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm going to put these down, and I'm going to just make this zoom out. Look, I wonder if Debs is watching, because this is like, if ever there's been a moment that's made me think the tarot's real. Like, they won't all be like this, will they? But like, this read is a stonker. Look at this. What I was asking in my heart of hearts is it just a domestic issue? We've got the happiness, the bliss, everyone's happy together, they're drinking, they're cheersing, and it's turned into Nikki's murdered, she's in the river, and she's been betrayed. And who's betrayed her, and what's the story of this? Is it's domestic. It's Paul Ansell, it says, really, doesn't it? You know, but that, I ask, you know, is it the family? Is it, you know, this is about family union. This is about like homecoming, emotional stability, domestic harmony. So, you know, it could also be about family. And Paul's not in their family. He's not married to her. He's got these, they've had kids together and they live in the same house, but they're not married, and her family live up the road, her parents, her sister. Like, so they're a lot closer in reality. Like, now Nikki died, I'm assuming Paul Ansell will assume stewardship of the children, like he is their father, but they were never married. You know what I mean? Like Paul Ansell, like Nikki doesn't, I don't know if there's any legality to being married and then, you know, becoming a widow. But Paul is not officially a widower, is he? If you know what I mean. Like, it's just one of those things. But like, so I was questioning, you know, tell me about relationships. Tell me about, I want to know, are we talking just sticking at home here, Paul Ansell, there's no connection, you know, Peter Faulding is just a bystander who's come along with a boat, or what have we got, what connection, you know, what's going on with Peter Faulding here? And I've got the devil inverted, and it was just dropped down here, like touching over here, which is our little pile that we're coming up to, which is Peter Faulding in the Dark Arts, that we've got to come on to in a minute, Peter Faulding in the Dark Arts. So I have to read the devil inverted as my final card on this story of Nikki here before we move on to Kelly and then Peter Faulding in the Dark Arts. But we can come back and draw more on this, I think. But the devil inverted, like, the devil's all about addiction and all about giving into your temptations. And let me just get the button out where I can see the read. I need to make sure I'm saying the right thing. But, you know, it doesn't mean like, because obviously there's a death card and a devil card, and everyone's like, they're the worst cards ever, yeah? But like, it's about obsession, addiction, stuff like that, like being powerless to your drives and desires. And that's not always necessarily an awful thing. It's a very human thing sometimes, but it's obviously a negative, isn't it? And it shows usually the Satyr Baphomet. Usually it's like proper Baphomet, you know, proper bad. With all the horns and everything. But here in this couple of decks we've got different indications of the devil. From the Golden Girls we've got this beautiful card, which is obviously Blanche, and the reason she's depicted as a devil is because she represents that temptation. She's not only the saucy sexy one out of the Golden Girls, she's eating a cake here, and it's a cherry cake and it's dripping with cherry sauce, and she's wearing that red off the shoulder number just slipping down, saucy, and she's giving you a wink, and she's got those earrings, and you know she's wearing the red knickers, like, oh, she's a saucy, and it's all red and pink, and she's got the little horns, oh, saucy, you know, and you just get right in there with the cake and yummies, and get in the bath and, like, you know, get up them stairs. So, like, you know, it's all about that, isn't it? It's all about carnal. And in the Golden Girls, she does that, and she does it unashamedly. Like, she represents this character who's living the best life, and if she wants to go out and have a party and a saucy and eat a cake, then she fucking well will. And some of the other Golden Girls seem to keep her in check a little bit, don't they? They're like, oh, you know, calm down a little bit, you're saucy. But she represents that free-spirited, almost teenage energy. Do you know what I mean? Like, in her dotage as well. Like, she reminds me of someone. The devil with her horns, look. Anyway, inverted. We're getting something quite different, though. what we're actually getting when we're talking about inversion here is about freedom, revelation, release, reclaiming power and reclaiming control. So it might not, like you might say, well, the opposite of addiction is being really stoic and I'm just not going to do any of my addictions, and I'm going to do 1 million press-ups, and I'm going to, go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm going to be really strict and stuff like that. But what we're actually talking about here is about this side is about being addicted to things, and it's about being controlled by things. And this way up is about freedom of that control, like being able to like be self-aware and in control of your own choices, breaking of other people's chains. It could mean that you have to do self-improvement, like you need to do that. It could be important to suggest that you should be doing that, to take more accountability, to break bad financial habits, or to end codependency and feel more in control. It's about taking control of your own life. Like, what's so strange about it is, like, I've asked it, what's the connection? And the connection is towards this way, and it's the same card, yeah? So, but for Nicola Bully, because this card is with this set, and this card is over here, right? For the Nicola Bully read and Peter Faulding in the sonar, I don't really understand. I mean, I could read it that the ongoing story of this problem at home, this shattering of the happiness, this Ten of Swords moment, from the home is because of Nicola's independence, financial bad habits, breaking free of them. And I can read that, it being connected to Paul Ansell, but I said, what's the connection with Peter Faulding? Is there a connection with Peter Faulding? And it pushed me over here as well to Peter Faulding's issue with his connection with the dark side. The dark arts, I called it when I asked for this read. And so what are the dark arts? I don't really know. I'm just sort of like, I'm doing a fun read on Peter Faulding. But his connection with the dark arts is the same. It's about independence and breaking free of bad financial habits. Whereas with Peter Faulding, I wouldn't suggest that he's got bad financial habits. With Nicola Bully, I wouldn't say she had. I would say that Paul had. He might have been a gambler. He certainly seemed a bit more reckless, the rock and roller, the drinker, the dreamer. And so certainly those sort of people can, have businesses or ideas, and they might not work, and they might, end up owing money or take out a business loan and things like that. There's some concern there. Whereas Nikki seemed like the opposite, didn't she? She seemed like a bit of a hard worker, a bit of a head down, like success at work over a period of time, sensible mortgage deals rather than pie in the sky, strange ideas. And in some way, that is, we're talking about the story of her being dead in the river here. So in some way, that's a culmination of an issue at home. Like, that's part of that. But it also connects to Peter Faulding and his connection with the dark arts. Insofar as Peter Faulding's connection with the dark arts, breaking free of bad financial habits, feeling independent, I'd be more likely to suggest that someone like Peter Faulding, and I don't know, but he's got a lot of fucking boats and vans and property, and like all that stuff costs money, and like you might have been paid really heavily and you have that money up front, and you might buy it all with your cash, or you might get a loan out for that, or like a mortgage. And I don't know, I'm not checking his financials, so I'm not telling you like this is just a card read and a feel, yeah. But like for Peter Faulding, I would say that the dark arts, whatever that means, allowed him to break free of those bad financial things. Like, I don't feel this is about a love life and a codependency, the dark arts. I don't think he needed to break free of his marriage. He's still married, for Christ's sake, but sorry, for Christ, I shouldn't say that. But more accountability in career, feeling empowered in a job, breaking free of financial habits. Like for Peter, it's becoming the boss of the sonar company, isn't it? It's becoming the big chuffer, the dark arts connection. For Nikki, it's something different, I suppose, isn't it? But they sort of connect in some way. Like, I suppose I should do this. Is there a connection between Nicola Bully and Peter Faulding's business? And then we'll move on to Kelly. So these just came out like this. I don't know if I'm upright, the wrong way up or whatever, but these are the 3 cards. So you've got the Lovers inverted. We talked about the Lovers just a minute ago. It's about an uneasy balance, isn't it? You know, we talked about it a minute ago with the 2 cats that were in the sun having a cuddle, but they could have been naughty. It's about an uneasy balance, but a balance nonetheless between good and evil, right and wrong. But we've got the invert. It's an inverter. Oh, and these cards aren't going to give you a yes or a no, even though someone might say, well, this card is a positive card or this card is a negative card. But it's a card of partnership, duality, union. But inverted, of course, it's about imbalance, conflict, detachment, bad choices and indecision. So are their businesses connected? These two, you know, Nicola Bulley's devil card represents her financial freedom from disastrous bad decisions in the past, or from what I would say is the connection with Paul Ansel and his, you know, the way he is around that stuff. Like that devil card represents that emancipation from that situation by her own working as a mortgage advisor, you know, her own ability. Maybe that caused conflicts in the home, whatever. But that's that. Whereas Peter Faulding's, I was going to say, I don't know exactly what it means. I'm asking his connection with the dark arts, and it's given me the devil card. And I'm confused about whether there's a connection in this area between the two. And this one's saying there's an imbalance, a conflict, a detachment, bad choices and indecision. It might be a no, or it might be their 2 businesses conflict. Next card is the 9 of Cups. Let me just quickly... before I get to that, this could also be about impulsive decisions, not irresponsible financial decisions, and conflicts between colleagues leading to trouble, or, you know, like conflict. So I'm saying the 2 businesses might be in conflict. The 9 of Cups on top of that. And as we all know, Cups is about abundance. What is Cups even about? Like, it's about people, isn't it? About, like, 9 of Cups. Wishes coming true, contentment, satisfaction, success. It's about success, spiritual and materially. We're talking about materially, really. We're talking about Peter Faulding's dark arts, and they said like an alleviation of financial pressures and stuff like that. Nicola Bulley's drawing of the devil card seemed to be about financial or business emancipation. I'm asking if there's a connection. They said there's a conflict between their 2 businesses, and the 9 of Cups shows success, like abundance, financial comfort, security, material rewards. So that these 2 don't seem to go together. Now, if I drew this, then I'd say they're in conflict. Their businesses are in conflict, whether they brush up against each other or not. They're not in union. Like if it was this way around, I'd say they're working together, look. But here I'd say they're not. They're in conflict. Like there's been an issue between the 2 businesses, between the Peter Faulding's dark arts, whatever that means, and her emancipation through her work. But then instead of that, I've got 9 of Cups, which is like cooperation, success, like satisfaction, recognition and respect at work. And that would feel like both of them in a way as well. Like Nicola Bulley was getting that before she died. Peter Faulding was getting that through his work. Like they're both in that position. So what's the final card? Is the 2 of Cups inverted, which would be about unity and partnership, but reversed it's about rejection, division, imbalance and tension. It mirrors the Lovers inverted there, you know. It really mirrors the Lovers. Tension, bad communication. It's almost like saying things went badly at the start, like, you know, their businesses are in conflict, but they found a way to resolve things and everyone was happy and successful, but then it went wrong again. Or their businesses are in conflict, they're both successful people, and it's finished in conflict, bad communication and withdrawal. Like if this was a process of negotiation, or a process of like writing contracts, you would say, you know, we got together, there's issues, trying to iron these things out, and then everyone seems to be happy and it's all on the plate and everyone's having their cake and eating it and whatever. But finally, like, we've ended up with separation, rejection, and it's gone wrong. Bad business partnerships, spending more than you're earning, going over budget, conflict with colleagues. And it's this conflict between the two businesses that I'm asking about. I didn't get a correct answer there, whether they are connected or not. But I'm feeling like they might be, because this didn't say, oh no, there's nothing to do with business. Actually, it's talking about conflict between success and conflict. Like, it's like, you know, if you like work with other businesses, I mean, you might or might not understand. Like, you know, I used to have suppliers for my hairdressing, for example, who would... like, they'd want to sell me shampoo, hair colour. I want the hair colour, you know, I use it for my salon, so I've got an order that I want to put in, and I want them to do me a good deal. And they want me to buy an extra 10 bottles of shampoo and stuff. So we're working together, we're partners. Like, you know, I want their hair colour, they want to stock me with shampoo, but we're at odds with each other as well, because I don't want to pay the odds for the prices for the shampoo. But I used to say things to them like, okay, look, you obviously want me to buy 10 of these shampoos and you're obviously on a commission for them. This is the latest shampoo. I don't mind having a few of those bottles on my shelf, you know, but I'm not going to sell loads of them. What I really want is this hair colour. So you do me the hair colour at 20% off, and I'm taking 10 shampoos, and you get your commission on that, and I get my 20% off over here, and, you know, it all works out. And they would do those sort of deals. You know, they're reasonable people that you could negotiate with. So we would be in conflict, I would think. You know, when the first, I like those people, the reps, they're nice people, they're not horrible people. So as people, I'd think, but then, you know, and successful together, yeah, like, you know, we both got our, you know, I got my hair colour, they got their sale, whatever. But in conflict still, because whilst we're working together, they've got their own individual aims and I've got my own individual aims. So, like, I don't want to give them all that money for that shampoo, and they don't, do you know what I mean? They don't want to give me 20% off, really. It's just, we're doing it because it's uneasy business, but like, that's what business is like sometimes. Like, and personally, I think they're probably quite nice people, but whether I would say professionally we're on the same team, absolutely not, you know, absolutely not. So I wonder if there's something in that. We'll put that aside for a minute. There's one more card to draw underneath the devil there for his dark side and his dark arts. We'll get to that in a minute, because I want to go to Kelly's cards. Yeah, this reading is really interesting. You can take what you want from it. Obviously, you know, I will always say this is just a bit of fun, and it's tarot cards, and, you know, there's probably not much magic in it. Although I will also agree that I've got a massive gift. I'm really gifted, huge gift. So I definitely the #1 tarot reader on Twitch, and probably the best one on YouTube as well, if I ever went on there. And it is really interesting concepts that it's bringing up. Like, what seems to be happening as well, which is what sometimes does happen, is that, you know, some people are going to say this is too spookily accurate, especially the Nicola Bully ones, like, too spookily accurate. So what kind of energy is Peter Faulding directing at Kelly? Like, is he aware of Kelly? Does he care? I'm going to say I assume he does care, and he is aware. Like, should we all agree on that? The thing is, he told Luke that he had an ex-policeman who worked on his behalf on Twitter, working against his trolls. And Mark Williams-Thomas is an ex-policeman who works on social media as well, who might know something about that sort of stuff. And you've made him cross as well. So. But no, like, what is Peter's energy that he's directing towards Kelly? Can I get a read on that? We've got a 7 of mice. So this is a problem, because I don't know what the mice mean, because, you know, it's cats. It's not pentacles. Is it swords? No, 7 of swords is a cat with a thing. What have they done with... What kind of a card is this? It must be wands, must it? 7 of wands. You are no stranger to tenacity and perseverance at all costs. Some may even call it stubbornness. It's too close, isn't it? It's too close, but they're going to say the tarot's real. Listen, you're no stranger to tenacity and perseverance at all costs. Some may even call it stubbornness. Doesn't sound like you, does it? That doesn't sound like you. While you may be outnumbered by your enemies, rest assured that your position on the high precipice gives you the distinct advantage. Stand your ground and you'll have no trouble battling them over the edge. You have the upper paw. Rest assured you're in full control. So that's kind of good for you if it was you. Like, is that you, or is that what Peter Faulding thinks about you? Does he see himself as the dominant cat batting you off the thing? Or is this a card that says Kelly is like this, you know, stand your ground and you will be okay and you will bat away your enemies? That's an important question, isn't it? That's where you need your pendulum, isn't it? That's where you need your pendulum. Right. Hang on. I'm going to just quickly make a reef and then I'm going to pendulum. Pendulum could go wrong though. If it goes wrong, I'll just abandon it and we'll just read another couple of cards. But I mean, obviously we're going to do a couple more cards. But I think obviously the way I read it from the book and the way my instinct was that was you. The way it gave the, you know, the overview. And I said, like, this is, you know, the Kelly card, but like also I did ask what's Peter Faulding's thoughts towards you, his energy towards you. So I wonder if he feels like if he's stubborn, he will bat you away. But you are, it did, yeah, exactly. It does sound a lot like you. And it's a very positive like idea for the future, which is to simply stand your ground, like, you know, because you are in a strong position, really, aren't you? Because like speaking the truth is quite strong, isn't it? But if we need a pendulum, I know where we're going to get one. Definitely my pendulum. 100% this is my pendulum. This is Omar's old Moosey. Obviously Omar's not with us anymore, but his Moosey still is. So this is my pendulum. It's 100% my pendulum, yeah. Actually, it's only going to move in two directions because of the way that the string is, so it's a cheats pendulum, really. Maybe I just hold it by that little thread like that. Which way's yes and which way's no? How am I going to... This should be my pendulum, but I can't... I need to attach it to something so that it swings more, you know... yes is up and down, but like because it's flat, it will only go in this direction. Like if I swing it around, then it's going to settle back to going the same direction as the flat. Like that. I mean, this is perfectly right. Oh, you coming in because you heard it? I got his Moosey out, look. I got his Moosey out. Do you remember his Moosey? Hey? I'm thinking, should I tie some string to it, or should I just, like, you know, not tie any string to it? And we need to know where the yes and the no in the, like, you know. So up and down is yes and no, and this way is like no. So up and down is yes, and this way is no. Yeah. And what we're asking is this card about Kelly or Peter Falk? Well, I can't give it an or, can I? It's just, is this card about Kelly? I'm kind of cheating because I'm holding it like that. Should we take it as a yes? I'm taking it as a yes so far. This is already a good thing to have on the table, so I'm going to keep it on the table. All right? And then I'll try and find something else that's more Pendulous. Pendulous. So I was just thinking, the in the toilet, there's the thing that hangs down. It's like the light pulley in the toilet. I could use that, but it's a bit. Don't think I will. I think we're all right. Tell you what we'll do. I've got a better idea. Damn it! Where's the coin when you need a coin? All of a sudden I want a coin. Actually, I don't think we should leave it to a 50-50. I don't think we should do that. I think that's ridiculous. I was going to do a coin flip and say, is it this or is it that? I don't think we should do that. I feel like it does represent Kelly. That's what I said at the start. I'm doing the read and I felt like that, so I said it, and then I'm like questioning it. But I don't need to question it. The question I've got is Peter's energy towards Kelly. Right, so if this card represents Kelly, then like it can also represent Peter's feelings towards her as well. Like he could also feel like that, yeah. But what I really want to know from the cards, why am I getting such glare on the old cards? Such glare. What I really want to know is Peter's feelings towards Kelly. So can I have another card to either, like, you know, double down or contradict or whatever about Peter's feelings towards Kelly, like Peter's energy going out towards Kelly? What's Peter thinking? What do we need to know about Peter's feelings towards Kelly? What do we need to know about Peter's feelings towards Kelly? What do we... This card doesn't want to come out. This one's the one. The Five of Wands. Ooh. 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 Peter. This is competition. This is, they've all got their bowling balls up against each other in this image and they're about to go head to head. It's like, instead of cheers with your drinks, it's like, you know, like boxing gloves before a fight, you know. Touch gloves. The Five of Wands. It's about conflict. It's about a fight. Competition, arguments, aggression, tension, rivals, clashes of ego. It's perfectly right. He doesn't like you at all. It could also be about facing competition in an area that you're not used to. So meeting people with similar abilities as you poses a challenge. Jealousy, greed and envy. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Do you want to give us another... Oh, that's come out. Two of Swords upside down. I was going to say, I was going to ask for, like, you know, do you want to give us a bit of a another card on this, and then after that I was going to ask for a prediction for the future, but I don't know if this counts as a future, because I was thinking that in my mind before I said it out loud. I didn't even get to say it. This came out, Two of Swords inverted. So this will be about bad planning, over analysing, not taking action, playing it safe and avoiding risk. This will be normally it's about choice and creating your future from your plans, but inverted, it would be about a lack of control, unexpected obstacles, over-analysing, and not taking action. So, you know what it screams of? It basically says, like, Peter Faulding sees Kelly as, like, a determined problem that he would like to bat away. Kelly is patient and stubborn, and is, like, doing the same back to him, sort of thing. Yeah, the Five of Wands, direct competition, the ball's clacking the head to head, and the Two of Swords inverted, about paralysis, so to speak. I think if Kelly wasn't there on the scene, Peter Faulding would have gone ahead with what he was doing, and I think because Kelly's calling it out so clearly. And it sounds weird because obviously, like, we're not getting loads of views on the internet, are we? Like, all of, like, me and Kelly are just small YouTubers, but, like, we're calling things out in public for real, like, so, like, people can get away with it, but they still, like, do you know what I mean? If he carries on and does it, and someone's watching him and saying he's doing it, maybe it puts him in his box a little bit and makes him think, should I just, even if we're smaller YouTubers, like, there's definitely a sense of, like, this head-to-head. I drew this card before, and I said that what occurs to me is it's a head-to-head, but one of the characters is smaller. Obviously, in the Golden Girls, the mother of Dorothy is, like, physically smaller than her, isn't she? But so this is an equal fight, really, isn't it? Like Blanche and I never remember all their names, but it's more like an equal, bowling battle. And then Dorothy and her mum seems a bit imbalanced, seems a bit uneven. But obviously the mum's got a lot of fight in her, hasn't she? Like, so you might see it as being a little uneven, but let's get to fighting and find out. So, and they do in Golden Girls, don't they? They have a bit of head to head and a bit of, like, to and fro sometimes, and it's funny. But like, it looks like there's an imbalance on the battlefield, so to speak. And then the Two of Swords inverted. Like, I'm saying, like, I think, like I said, this says that Peter would have gone ahead with taking his plans forward into fruition, but now he's thinking, what if, like, and it screams about releasing the sonar, doesn't it? Like, if I release the sonar, then someone like Kelly, or Kelly specifically, will then say X, Y, Z, so I can't do this. So that's that plan out the window. So then what am I going to do about this? Like, and so instead of doing something, he's not doing something. Like, he's, like, paralysed because you knock the mice off the table if like, there's this sense of head-to-head competition. There's almost like a sense of stalemate in this as well. The pins are still on the field. No one's bowled a ball yet. The game is prepared and set up, but we're yet to find out the result. And I suppose I did ask, can you give me one for the future? I did ask that. I'm going to take this one. This one was at the bottom and it's forced its way to the top. I know it has because just shuffling that a number of times. I'm not being funny, but I just know it has. It's Temperance. It kind of wanted to be the card, so important for the future for you, specifically for Kelly, regarding the Peter Faulding thing. Temperance. Major Arcana. So this was about Peter Faulding's energy towards Kelly, how he felt about her, and, like, we kind of got that. Her opposition has stunted his ability to move his plans forward. And then Temperance is my question, like, give me a sort of portent for the future, specifically for Kelly more than Peter here, but this is about balance, peace, patience, moderation, calm, tranquility, harmony, and serenity. So originally on the Temperance card there's an angel with wings, and there's a balance between even gender of the sexes in the sort of asexual quality of the angel. One foot's in water to represent the subconscious, while the other's on dry land to represent the material world. It's about conscious and subconscious minds, union, infinity, harmony. Test any new waters before jumping into the deep end. Success from patience and moderation, steady and slow progress. That's what that says. In this Golden Girls deck, we get what's her name? What's the one with the? I can never remember the names. What's the one with that's ditzy? She's ditzy. We've got Dorothy's the older lady. Well, they're all older ladies, aren't they? But Dorothy's the tall lady. Blanche is the one that goes out and parties. Rose, that's it. We've got Rose. Rose always represents to me in this, especially like this sort of like childlike, innocent energy. Like, and here is Temperance. She's wearing a white summery blouse, summery A-line. Like, it's almost like medical, but she's not at work like doing medical. She's drinking a drink. She's pouring a nice long drink of water. She's out in the summer plants on the veranda. Actually, there's water on the floor. Like it says, she's got 1 foot in water. There is a puddle of water on the floor here, and she's actually stepping in it. She has got 1 foot in the water here on this card. But she looks very happy and very, you know, it reminds me of a bright, fresh, like, you know, when you go on holiday and you get up early on like the first day and everything's like bright and fresh and it's hot and it's bright. And like, you're like, oh, this is going to be nice. And you get your clothes and it's like your brand new t-shirt that you've just bought for your holiday. Like, everything's spanky white and like, yeah, it looks like she's having a nice time out there in the sun. But she's also got a foot in the water as well, 1 toe still in the water. It's interesting. Yeah, that seems quite positive. So Peter's feelings on you are competitive and negative, but the outgoing card there that I asked for was quite positive. Let's go back to the negative. The devil. Let's go back to the devil. Like, this was a real interesting collection of cards. It led into Peter's dark. I said, tell me about the dark arts, Peter, and the dark arts. Yeah. Tell me about the connection between Nicola Bulley's inverted devil card, which I see as a picture of her success leading to conflict at home. Why this conflict, success and conflict between Nicola Bulley and Peter Faulding. Like, Nicola Bulley, murder victim, Peter Faulding, business, you know, maybe it's that, you know, like, this could literally represent turning up on the scene was really good for him. Sorry, there was a conflict to get him onto the scene initially, like between him and the police. He wasn't just invited on the scene. Then he got there and he was making hay while the sun shone and, you know, having his cake, but it's all gone wrong again when there's been problems afterwards. You know, it could be something like that, couldn't it? But I asked about the dark arts. I said, you know, has Peter Faulding got a connection? If this had said no, he's got no connection or whatever, but we've got the invert devil here again. Money, fulfilling of you know, becoming independent, financially independent. But I said these cards are different and these reads are slightly different. In this deck, obviously it's the cat's deck, yeah? And who, of course, is the devil in the cat's deck but the dog? What a clever and elegant crafting of a tarot card. You know, I think it's really, really clever and elegant, that is. The dog's not offensive and nasty looking. It's actually quite a nice looking dog with a big smile. But if you're a cat, it's the dog. So, like, there's this sense of, like, the devil in normal tarot decks would represent temptation, instincts, you know, stuff like that. But, like, there's, like, you can see it with Blanche here. You know, she's got the cake, she's saucy, she's got the off the shoulder number. You know, you can see what it's talking about. Like, it's not the devil, like, you know, in terms of straight to hell, nasty, nasty, horrible hell devil, like evil, but it's that temptation, that addiction, you know, that primal urge. I don't see that in the cat version. Like, I don't see what's appealing to the tempting to the cat here. Maybe it's just the dog tempts the cat. You know, the dog is here attached to a leash, but the leash itself is waving, almost like it's not being held. And, like, you know how cats like to go after a bit of string or a bit of rope. Like, you know, maybe the cat is tempted by this. The dog's got one paw up as if it's like doing its paw thing. Maybe that, you know, the cat's tempted to attack. You know, maybe it's like saying the dog makes me want to attack it. it's not my fault I have to attack it, you know, or something like that. And in the sky here, like, it's purple, it's watercolors, it's beautiful, but they've painted 3 pentacles like that. Like, I'm going to say this, but it's going to sound stupid, but it makes me think of John Wedger. I'm trying to think of what is the connection. Like, why am I getting this? Like, it's such an interesting devil card, and how am I relating it to Peter Faulding in the Dark Arts and what's going on or something? But doesn't that dog look like John Wedger? Like a big stupid, like, maybe it's not that, you know, maybe it's not that. I was saying because of the wishy-washy watercolour of this purple behind him as well. Maybe it's not that. The purple, and it's like obviously a golden retriever, isn't it? And it's got a collar with a bone on it. Little collar with a bone on it. Little gold collar with a bone on it. Like, what is it about this card that represents... I know, obviously, the cuteness of the idea that the cat and its natural opposition is the dog, so the dog is the devil. But just to simply paint a dog, like, you know, the symbolism and all this, I'm not feeling it as much. I'm not understanding so much. But it was inverted. It was inverted. And we know what it means because we've literally just been talking about this one. So we know the general principle of the meaning. And inverted, the dog does seem a little bit more weird looking, I guess. A little less. You know, it's got a big open mouth that I notice more now with teeth and stuff. You know, and that Baphomet beast, you know, like the sort of deadness of the eyes. I see that a little more inverted. The paw has the claw. But I don't know, you got the same colour candle for your pup and you found a bone toy today. Like, interesting. Maybe it's something that means more to you than it does to me. You know, this is your read that you requested and it's John Wedger. Not John Wedger, sorry, it's Peter Faulding. I asked specifically, does Peter Faulding have a connection to the Dark Arts? And I said that this card represents a financial emancipation. Maybe you were in financial trouble, but you got out of it somehow, you know, like, and the reason I said that, out of all the options that the devil can represent and the invert can represent, is because I felt that, like, how does it relate to the Dark Arts and Peter Faulding, like, and what we're talking about? Like, it doesn't really mean about relationships and staying with the wrong person, does it? Or like breaking up with someone, because I don't think that's what Peter's been up to. So I feel like it meant more about business, and therefore in some way a relationship to something Dark Arts. And I just said Dark Arts, I didn't say anything specific, and I wasn't thinking too much specific. So, you know, but maybe, you know, it's benefited his business to do something a little bit, you know, dodge somewhere along the lines. I'm not saying anything slanderous, this is the cards, it's just an opinion based on the cards. It's a bit of fun, it's entertainment, but maybe it means that. But then, like, I'm looking for something in the card to, like, you know, give me some indication to go on, and I'm not kind of seeing it. Because I'm seeing like a dog that's like appealing, but I know I'm supposed to feel like a cat and therefore think it's not. Like, maybe I'm seeing an illusion again. Like, it's not the meaning of the devil card, but like, you know, maybe it feels good to give into your primal urges and instincts and run around like the dog and chew the stick and do whatever, and, you know, be a nutter. I don't know, and it's inverted anyway, isn't it? So it's about that. And then, okay, so let's connect it with the next card. So I'm feeling a bit confused about it on its own in this way, but it did definitely connect this, didn't it? It connected all the Nicola Buddy stuff. So the next card that we got with it was the Knight of Pentacles inverted. And the right way up here, one thing that stands out to me immediately and really screams at me and strikes me, and I don't like it, is the way this watercolour pattern at the back again, it looks like blood on a floor. It looks like there's blood on a floor and someone's washing it with bleach and stuff, and it's like, it looks like blood on a tile floor. Knight of Pentacles here is depicted as a cat sitting up to a table with someone eating their dinner, and the cat's sitting up to the table almost like a little human, expecting their food. The Knight of Pentacles would be about... I mean, I'm asking about Dark Arts, and I'm getting the Devil and the Knight of Pentacles, and like Knight of Pentacles, like, you know, scary Satanist things. I'm not getting a good feel off it. It was inverted, And it would normally be about money, wouldn't it, the Pentacles? And the Knight is about pushing forward with projects and financial hard work, slow and steady hard, like in contrast to what you got with Temperance, yeah, like the slow and steady hard work rewarding you. This inverted card talks about being lazy, dull, boring, cheap, irresponsible, gambling, risky investments. That's what that speaks of. So the Dark Arts card said getting themselves out of trouble, or being in that sort of trouble financially, the devil, but inverted, getting yourself out of it, but then also being in it. Gambling comes up again. Like risky investments could mean an expensive sonar, a load of new like vans. You know, that could be a risk. I wasn't asking about that area of the business. I was asking about the Dark Arts. So I'm asking about the Dark Arts. So, like, you know, are we telling me something about the Dark Arts here that's risky? That's easy money, that's quick, you know, gambler, irresponsible. Could also be a workaholic, someone who's boring, no initiative, but head down, you know, cracking at it. No, it's more about little ambition as well, like, but obsessed. How can you have no ambition but be obsessed with work? That's weird, isn't it? Wasting money, impulsive purchases, risky purchases. Like, part of me wants to say gambling. Like, give me the cards again. This is from the Golden Girls deck again. We've had a lot of cards already turned from here, but I think we're okay to carry on with this, the way it's going. Give me a card to tell me, is this gambling or is this business? You know, is this gambling or is this business? That's dropped out, and these don't want to go back together. This is dropped out. The King of Wands inverted. We're going for it now. Pentacles, where are my wands? Show me the King of Wands inverted. Good old internet. Doody fucking doody. We're talking about forceful, domineering, tyrant, vicious, powerless, ineffective, weak leader. I said, is it gambling or is it business? Upright, it would be about creativity, taking an idea and implementing it, being a born leader. And reversed, it's about a lack of leadership at work, passiveness at work, not taking charge of your finances, or not having financial goals. So it's a weird one, because like, I'm asking about Peter Faulding in the Dark Arts, and it's basically said, like, there's some problem in his business. There's some sort of issue with his ability to spend, maintain, you know, make financial decisions. There's an issue with the business, really, and it's business, it said. You know, is it out gambling? Is it something else? But it's business. Not taking charge of your finances, not having proper financial goals. I mean, it just sounds like not being good at the money, doesn't it? Lack of leadership at work. Maybe there are people in his business that are taking advantage of him. You know, maybe there are people at his business that are being paid and not doing their job properly, or you know, maybe he's allowed certain spending to get out of control and it's not helping him, but maybe he's not taking charge of that. Why is this the Dark Arts? Why is that all in what I asked about the Dark Arts? Why is that? What's that got to do with the Dark Arts? Because that seems like legitimate business. So what's that got to do with the Dark Arts? And has it got to do with anything with the Dark Arts? We're running out of draws on this deck, because the more cards I draw, the less chance it's a fair draw, because, you know, it's getting to be 80% of a deck. But there we go. We've got the Five of Pentacles, so that's come out. Why the Dark Arts? The Five of Pentacles. And she is cloaked as she walks mysteriously past that window in the night through the rain. She is cloaked. Competition, rivalry, conflict, aggression, tension. Conflict. We've had this before, but we had it with the cat cards, didn't we? We had it sorry, the Five of Pentacles. I'm reading the wrong card, sorry. Wrong card. What am I talking about? I do this sometimes because I'm just like learning. Do do dee, do do dee dee do 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 dee. What do we say it was? Pentacles. Come on, the internet. You're supposed to be good. Where's all the pentacles? If you think you're so clever, where's all the pentacles? I've just looked all up there. Hardship, loss, isolation, feeling abandoned, adversity, struggle, unemployment, alienation, or a disgrace. I just want to tell you what it says in my brain. What this card says. I just kind of feel it instinctively to just tell you, like, I read those keywords. I'm on the internet, obviously. You know, I look at the thing on the internet, I'm learning. And I've read the keywords, and I just want to tell you what it says in my brain. This is Peter Faulding wanted to be something else in his life, but he couldn't make it. The hardship, the loss, the isolation, the feeling abandoned, the adversity, the struggle, unemployment. You know, he had to take his skills and do something different, didn't he? I think if it was up to him, he would have liked to have been something special in the army or whatever he tried to be or whatever it was. You know, maybe he didn't cut the mustard in some way, in some direction, but he's gone off on his own, put his cloak on against the rain and said, right, I'm going to fucking have to do it my way then. And it reminds me of Luke and his hacks. You know, Luke's always gone on about these hacks, food hack. But what really means when Luke's talking about hacks is Luke's talking about cheating his way to the top. You know, if you don't want me in your club and I'm not going to be part of your group, then I'm going to put on my coat and I'm going to fucking go off into the night and you'll show you. It's about being on the outside. I know this from the Rider-Waite deck. This is two people and there's like a window, and just on the inside of the church it looks all good and it's warm, but they're out and they're on the outcast in the snow. But the stained window represents this, like, you know, possibility of like a church usually, and more often than not this is a bad omen. But really, like, realistically there's goodness inside that church, but you're not inside the church, you're walking out in the cold. So maybe that's out of your own choice, but like traditionally this card in the Rider-Waite deck would be about choosing to turn, like, your choice is to turn to the good path and have success and abundance, or better, you know, support inside the stained glass, you know, on the other side of that window inside the church. But instead, like, the characters are walking out into the snow, into the cold, into the hardship themselves through choice. I'm asking about the dark arts, and I'll tell you something. We've had the Devil inverted with its pentacles. We've had the Knight of Pentacles. We've had the King of Wands inverted. And now we've got the Five of Pentacles with this very clear satanic symbology. And in this one, the Golden Girls deck, she's off out in the cold. She's actually got a bruise on her hand. She's got a bandaged hand as if she's been in some sort of conflict. Like maybe this window looks like it might have all been cracked. You know, maybe she smashed the mirror. Maybe there's been some sort of anger and conflict and she's off to walk out with her cloak up around her into the cold and the wet. But she almost looks like she's being crowned by this pentacle. And like, what I would say, just from my instinct on all this, I would say that Peter Faulding, when he didn't get to, I'm asking why the dark arts and why are we dragging it towards business when I'm asking about the dark arts, like if he's even connected to them. And it keeps showing me pentacles and it keeps showing me this aspect of it. And what I'm saying is my opinion from the cards. It's entertainment, obviously, but the feel is that not having direct success, you know, being put out in the cold, well, he's turned to the dark arts in order to get success, like in business, with these risks and this money and, you know, these decisions, and when things go wrong. Like, this is now a sort of like, ultimately in the Five of Pentacles, the characters are out in the snow and it's survival that you feel, you know, it's about survival and it's hard going, but it's about survival. So you make the hard choices. You know, you do the things that you need to do. It's a kind of snub nose to the world, like a sort of fuck you, like I bite my thumb at you, you know. He could have been good at what he does, yeah. Like this is about like he could have gone, like I think at some point it could have gone right for him, but it hasn't, and so he's decided to sort of cheat his way to the top or to whatever. There's no top anymore, is there? Because he's not in that group. He's outside of it. But you know, he'll do what he has to do out in the cold there. And I know this sounds stupid. I don't always do this, and it's too easy because I could look at the bottom of the deck, and if it goes well, I could say let's chuck it in. If it doesn't, I could say let's not. But because I don't know what they mean, it's harder for me. At the bottom of the deck, I've got two cards that I really feel want to come off. I really feel they want to come off. So we've got the Three of Pentacles on top, and this is the three golden girls all together, working together, making a cake. And it's about cooperation in business. We're on the Pentacles suit. Like this whole dark arts area feels like it's all pentacles, isn't it? Like the knight of pentacles, like the wands isn't, but we've got a lot of pentacles there, and the Three of Pentacles here is about teamwork, shared goals, collaboration, apprenticeship, effort, and pooling energy. So I'm going to say, once you turn to the dark side, it's almost like the bloody Star Wars, isn't it? Look, once you turn to the dark side, cooperation, taken on as apprentice, working together for a goal. Usually this would be pictured someone working in front of a cathedral. Again, there's like a sense of the church, but being outside the church. Others are keenly listening to understand more what's needed of them and how they can provide guidance. So it's about a chain of command. And it reflects back on what we were saying before about some of his other cards where like we felt like his core reading with the Lovers, I said that was about feeling more comfortable in a group where you have a chain. Like, you know, if you're in the army, you don't have to do any thinking. You just do what you're told and then everything works out. Yeah. So it works well for people who aren't that clever. As you get higher up the chain, then you need to have brain. But if you're going to be on the lower end, then you just need to fucking wake up and clean your boots. And do whatever the fuck else you're told. And it can be very comfortable. You know, it can be very comforting to be successful within a framework. But having left that, and his key card as well being the Seven of Swords, as well as the Lovers, being this deceiving espionage behind enemy lines, stealing the swords. We should come back to that in a minute. But this suggests that by turning to the dark side, the dark arts, whatever I'd call that, he found collaboration and easy success. People have made it easy to bet, you know, oh, I'll help you, scratch my back, scratch yours, we'll make a cake. Plus, it's about delegation. They're making the cake together. Cake is one thing, it has to be done the right way, but they've all got opinions, so too many cooks spoil the broth. But they're not spoiling the broth here, they're all happy, they're all playing their little part, and the cake is getting baked. So it's about delegating your ideas to others as well. You know, you do this, we'll get this done, and other people fulfilling their obligations in that way. Yeah. Stupid. It's about pooling your experience and skills with a larger group to accomplish shared goals, and that sounds about right. One more card, which was on the bottom that wanted to be peeled off, was the Two of Pentacles inverted, and it just wanted to go, so I've done it. The Two of Pentacles inverted, which is usually about juggling money, possibly ideas, but juggling money, you know, robbing Peter to pay back Paul, that sort of idea. However, here it's inverted, so it's about unorganized, overwhelmed, messiness, chaos. I mean, when I say juggling money, adapting flexibility, stretching resources isn't always a bad thing. You know, you might find the money to repair that washing machine by, you know, selling that old vacuum cleaner, and then when you come to need to do the vacuuming in 2 days, you might manage to have cashed in that check. And you know, it might be about resourcefulness and flexibility, but here it's not. You've got it inverted. It's about being overwhelmed, it's about messiness, chaos, and overextending. being overworked, having too many projects, things falling through the cracks, having too many bills, not being able to keep up with payments. It's not a very good, set of ideas there. So again, like, I'm telling ever-evolving stories with similar themes. So turning to the dark side went well and we made a good cake, but has it got too much? Have we taken on too much? And I tell you what, this is a really important concept. When you work with people who demand a lot, when I'm talking about the dark arts here, when you work with people who demand a lot and things go wrong, or you make a big promise, like, what happens if you don't keep up with your promise? And what happens, like, if it's the bank, right? If it's the bank and you owe the bank money, then the bank will come and take the items. So if it's the trucks, if it's the property, you'll have to move out of the big house, the farm, the llamas, and you'll have to go and live somewhere else because the bank will take it away. Like, you've got a contract, you pay the mortgage. But I'm saying, like, Peter's story here, this is only conjecture based on the cards, as a bit of entertainment, a story, is that he got those problems juggling these things, turned to the dark arts, maybe took a loan or, did some other kind of work that led to turning to the dark arts, as we said, turning, like, this was a bit more specific, this 5. I was like, why has he got into this? Like, how has he got into this? Like, business not going quite well, turning to the dark arts, making that money that you need to make. But what if it goes wrong in the dark arts? Like, if it goes wrong paying the mortgage generally, like, if you've got a problem coming up with the mortgage money and you can't get another loan because you've already had the loan, but someone in the car park's prepared to loan you the money, if you know what I mean. Like, if you get involved in dark arts in some ways, or you make the money in some other way, that's fair enough, you pay the mortgage, so now you don't lose the farm. But what if the dark arts goes wrong? What if you're struggling to fulfill your obligations? What if someone's saying, have you done this? Have you done that? You promised you'd do this. Where's that? Where's the other? Then maybe you have to do things, maybe you're getting pushed a bit further, aren't you? I don't know if I want to do another card or I just want to leave that there, because I'm getting a funny feeling that I just want to leave that there. Shall I say something different, right? This is just obviously cards, isn't it? It's just cards, so it's just stories coming out of cards. Let me just turn a card over for a second. I'll do a different card, hang on. This will be good. This will help. We want to finish off this with one more couple of cards about Peter himself. But before we do that, I just want to do a card. It's not these cards, is it? The Woodland Wardens that do it. It's the Witches cards, isn't it? Hang on. I'm messing. I think it's feasible that I should do it as a card. I've got this to hand. This is Gene from Genshin Impact. And what Gene from Genshin Impact symbolises is digging around in the woods looking for a package of drugs that may or may not be buried there, or money, or guns. So, yeah, I like, what was Peter Faulding doing when he returned after the first river search? He did the river search. He came in a week late, and then he went and did a river search for 3 days. The first day he didn't go in that part of the river where he said she was, because they'd already searched that. He was there further down, wasn't he? He decided that's not even working. The tide's out. Our boat's getting grounded. We want to go up by the bench. So day 2, day 3, he was up by the bench. Day 4 of his search, he decided to go back to the studio. Day 4, he decided to go back to the studio, wasn't it? My timeline might be exactly wrong, but I felt I'm right in saying that he took 3 days. Maybe it's the 3 days that he took 3 days off the search. He did a bit of searching, and then he went away. And where did he go? He went to film Channel 5 Vanished. He was on the telly, and a lot of the footage that got taken of him driving that boat the drone footage over the top, like the professional looking footage, was used in Channel 5, vanished. So it was almost like Peter had gone down there to look for Nicola Bulley, of course. And if I get another card, look. This card is Yelan. Yelan represents, in this deck, she represents getting loads of footage for the TV show under the cover of being a legitimate search and rescue operation. Sitting somewhere between media and search and rescue. Like, you know, if you sell footage to for example, Getty Images or something like that, yeah? Then you need to take, first of all, what you need to do is get the footage, then you have to upload it to the internet, and then you get paid when they use it on the telly and stuff, yeah? And when you take a photograph of, I don't know, like Peter Faulding said he had a friend who was a photographer from The Sun, and that he was taking photographs and there was a man in black in the background. Maybe the photograph that guy took with the man in the black in the background, maybe that's worth more money if Peter Faulding says there was a man in black in the background. I don't know who's selling those. Peter Faulding's mate, he said, was taking that photograph, and he worked for The Sun. Maybe he's a freelance, maybe he's direct. But if you're taking photographs, if you're taking media quality footage of on the scene of a thing like Nicola Bulley, like if you're Peter Faulding, for example, and your peers that are out there, whether they be media people or people that work for you, you've got the opportunity to take that footage, then it appears in Channel 5. I think this is the Yelan card, this is what this means. But I think basically what happened was he went off the scene, didn't he? He went on the telly, he went and did Channel 5. All that lovely footage that was taken ended up on that show. And that seemed to be it for Peter Faulding in the search. Like, he said that Paul Ansell was 100% innocent. He said that on the telly. And they'd done the telly programme about it, and they'd, like, you know, all that. But then he went back. And when he went back, he was looking for deposition sites. And deposition sites, he meant like a body. He thought there might have been a body buried somewhere. So he went around digging around in the woods, didn't he? And as part of that, he found a tree stump with some leaves near it. And he took some photos of it. Now, it's very unlikely that anyone could have buried Nicola Bulley under the tree with some leaves on her. So it might have been an implement he was looking for, an item, or some money, or a package, I don't know. But he did spend some time going around, digging around in the woods, didn't he? That's a feature of Peter Faulding's search for Nicola Bulley. And as I said, that's in the Gene card and the Yelan card from the Genshin Impact card, so that's where that came from. That's just a reading that came from the cards. Finally, I do want to do one more, you know, going back to the tarot, the Lovers, the Seven of Swords, that's Peter Faulding's cards. Like, what is this espionage all about? Why is that a big feature on his card read? And I've got this feeling this is the right way to go with this. It's just to continue with the goal. I'm caught between the Woodland Wardens and these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish with the Golden Girls cards, and then I'm going to do a read one card from the Woodland Wardens, and it's going to be a bit more like, I'm just going to call it Nikki's card at the end, because I think, you know, I want to get a bit of different voice on it from a different place. So what's going on with Peter Faulding? Why does this card want to stick out? The Page of Pentacles inverted. I'll throw a few down here quick, and these, because we've already drawn a lot from the deck, you know, this is going to be a reduced option, so the deck might not be as accurate. But Page of Pentacles inverted, we're talking about foolish, immature, irresponsible, lazy, underachiever, procrastinator, missed chances and poor prospects. Now that doesn't sound like Peter Faulding, does it? Because you would say he's quite a successful guy with his big house and his wonderful business and his llamas. But maybe he feels that he's been irresponsible, lazy, an underachiever, a procrastinator, missed chances and had poor prospects. Like, maybe he feels, I would lean more towards the poor prospects, the missed chances. Like, maybe he feels like he didn't get his, you know, he could have done better in life, could have been a para, could have done this, could have done that, and in the end he's ended up looking for bodies, like, you know. And maybe that wasn't the way he wanted to go with it. Like, maybe he doesn't feel he's getting the respect he deserves. Maybe he doesn't feel that, you know, he's managed to reach his, you know, status in life. Maybe he feels like there's been missed chances, but maybe that is down to his own irresponsibility, immaturity, Procrastination doesn't sound like Peter, does it? Like, he sounds like a go-getter, a real doer, but he hasn't released those sonar pictures yet, has he? So, and do you want one more? As I said, we'll throw a few down. Come on, golden girls. Oh, what's this? 2 here. I've got the Fool strutting their stuff, oblivious to it all, about to walk off the edge of the jetty, thinking they're all it, thinking they're all special, thinking they're all a big special, and even the little dog's trying to warn them, strutting their stuff, the naivety of youth, but also, you know, a sort of a sense of ego, naive ego, I think you'd call that. I'm really starting to learn the cards by doing this, so I'm glad that we get to do this. It's fun. New beginnings, free-spirited, originality, adventure, idealism and spontaneity. I mean, this is Paul Arnott in a card. No, but yeah, like a Fool, lofty ideas, and then finally the Ace of Swords inverted. So that'd be nice if it was the right way up, but it's not, your chuffer. It's the Ace of Swords inverted. What are we getting on, Peter? The cat's meowing now. Like, I know when it's time to finish the stream because the animal starts like getting eggy. I might just have to feed the cat again. Ace of Swords inverted is about confusion, miscommunication, hostility, arguments, destruction and brutality. I mean, it could be about clarities and breakthroughs and concentration and vision and force, but it feels like Peter Faulding, because this is Peter Faulding, the man I'm asking about. This is Peter Faulding, you know, the core human being that inside his soul. I think things are going to, like, you know how people can become embittered in life and can become like, you know, shriveled up and angry and whatever. I think this is talking about miscommunication, hostility, arguments, destruction and brutality. But it could, like I'm saying about shriveling up and, like, you know, getting angry and bitter in your old age. It could be something a bit more explosive and conclusive, like hostility, arguments, destruction, brutality. It's his dark side, isn't it? It's his temper. You know, it's that side of things. It's failure to communicate and express yourself. It's not double checking your finances and your legal documents. It's clashing perspectives and painful words. You know, that all sounds about right for Peter at the moment, doesn't it? Not double checking things, statements, legal documents, unable to express himself clearly and failure to communicate. And I think his relationships are breaking down. Like, you know, I say this about, you know, if he's all this, like, if you're involved in negative things and with bad people or negative people, or whatever, I don't know, like, you know, whatever path is going on here with this stuff, like, no one's there to sort of, like, you know, pat you on the back and say you're a good chuffer if things aren't going well. Like, if you work in a lovely working environment with nice people, then you can have bad days, even a bad month, and like people will rally around you and help you to get back to yourself. But if you're working in a sort of dog eat dog sort of environment, then it doesn't really happen. Like, people might stab you in the back or let you sink, or even worse, like, you know, push you around or attack you. And like, it feels like as Peter starts to get eggy and things are going wrong, instead of all his, like, I reckon Peter might feel a little bit out in the cold, a little bit like some of his peers and his friends that should be helping him have ended up, you know, not helping him, or even, you know, driving the knife. You know, I think, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's starting to feel eggy and angry, and like that's rubbing off in his relationships with people, is they're starting to feel eggy and angry with him. Yeah. There you go. What an interesting read. So that's my read on Peter Faulding. There's all the cards. Look, I've done all the cards. I've still got that many in the deck, but all the cards. But they continued to make sense all the way through. I suppose I did want to finish with one card for Nicola, like, and I want to take it out of a completely different deck and space. Like, these were really interesting about, ultimately, like, what we're all, like, Peter Faulding's interesting, isn't he? But what I found really interesting was the way these cards told this story of happy times, cheers, full cups, you know, full cups. But maybe, just maybe, I got a sense of, you know, impending betrayal in some way. Obviously, this one is very evocative of Nicola being dead under the water. talk brutally myself sometimes. You've got the reeds in the background that look like they're under the water. You've got the blue, and she's in this room, sat on a bed, like almost like sat on a child's bed or something, holding this picture frame of a man with all the swords stabbed into him, looking painfully out the window. Problems at home, problems with relationships and family, and then the inverted devil card, her own emancipation and success, financial freedom, you know, not giving into those temptations and going the wrong way, connecting into Peter Faulding's collection of bad cards and his business and his problems. I wonder, like, you know, if there is a connection there. If there is a connection there. I've used the word mortgage a few times. Like, Peter Faulding has mortgages. Like, that's over his head. When we saw it, you know, when Luke went to see the farm, do you remember that, right? When Luke went to see, big ups, new member here, Mila JJR. Do you remember when Peter Faulding went to see the farm? Sorry, when Luke went to see the farm, Peter Faulding lived on this big farm and all this stuff. And like, my first instinct was, that must be really expensive. Like, you must either have done really well financially and you can afford to own it, or you must be paying a massive mortgage. Like, and then he's got a property as well where he stores all his boats and his, you know, work stuff. And that's just like, you know, I used to own a hairdressing salon. It was only a little salon, but the rent was expensive. Like, owning an industrial estate, you know, having like 2/3 of an industrial estate. I suppose, like, it depends where you're situated. Like, you know, there are certain places where there are loads of farms out in the countryside and loads of little places and gaffs and things going on, aren't there? But yeah, like, you know, mortgages, and even saying that around Nikki's way, you know, Nikki was working in mortgages, and there's a lot of properties up and around there right now. Even as we speak, they're redeveloping part of the land in the area for a big mortgage redevelopment, a big housing redevelopment, you know. Maybe there's a connection there. Nikki's success, her emancipation, you know, through that work, Peter Faulding's problems, connection to the dark arts. I don't know anything really about mortgages, and please put this on YouTube. Maybe will. I didn't cut my nails though. I don't know much. Listen, I don't know much about mortgages, right? But my guess is that within that world there could be some opportunity for criminality and fraud or something. Like, that's a guess. That's not the cards. You know, that's nothing to do with Nikki Bully specifically either. I'm not saying she was a criminal. I'm just saying, like, you know, this connection area. It doesn't. That's a side curve as well, because that's not what I think. You know, my gut feeling on everything that's going on isn't that it's connected to do with crime and mortgages, but maybe that's why the cards, like, you know, I'm trying to, you know, maybe that's why the cards are giving the connection, because whilst they're not connected personally doing that work, although I asked and it said this and this, you know, maybe someone else could give me their opinion on those three cards: the Lovers inverted, the Nine of Cups, the Two of Cups inverted, connecting the two. You know, maybe it's a thematic connection rather than a personal connection, is what I'm saying. But it could be, you know, read any different way. So I don't want to say it's not, it's this, it's not. I'm also not going to say my Nicola Bulley investigation hinges on what the tarot tells me. It's much more grounded, much more, I say much more, I mean completely, entirely grounded in facts that I can verify, you know, facts. And then you've got that next layer of circumstantial evidence, and then you've got the next layer after that, which would be hypothesis and logical thinking, and then the next layer after that would be the tarot for me, you know. Good as a thought exercise, can open up different ideas, but I wouldn't take it into court and say the tarot card said that. So, you know me, that's where I feel about it. So, like, ultimately I would again caution everyone about too much adherence to this as a factual, you know, it's a bit of fun and you don't have to pay for it, because I'm the best top tarot reader on Twitch. I got the gift, which means giving it away for free. So that's how you get to be the top tarot reader on Twitch. How's Peter's book doing? I've never read it, and I'm not gonna. Peter's book. I'm not gonna read Peter's book. So I've got one more card to pull on this for Nikki herself, and it's not going to come from any of these decks, cute as they are. Let's put this away neatly and tidily in the box. Thank you for being the Golden Girls. Thank you very much, Nigel, for the Golden Girls deck. Thank you very much. At this juncture, just a little shout out to the old JC, and let's bear this in mind. I'm a Sufi, which means that I can take bits, you might call it, take bits of all the Abrahamic religions and sort of fold them together in my own mysticism. So Alhamdulillah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm not doing black magic, I'm doing the good version. I'm the good one. It's like being a white witch or something. I'm a good one. Moosey there. Shouts out to JC, and I don't mean genetic code, I mean Jesus Christ, obviously. The big JC. And this is Woodland Wardens, so it's a totally different vibe. It's 52 cards. It's an oracle deck and guidebook. You can attribute as much magic to this as you can to the tarot, insofar as, well, there you go. This is what's, let's just say that. Let's just say that. This is our card. And there's no inversions for me here or anything. The Dragonfly and Pansy. It's a blue card, and it depicts a dragonfly and pansies. This is my card for Nikki. I didn't even shuffle and ask, and what do we need to know? You know, it just jumped right out, so I went with it. It's interesting that dragonflies are found near the river. And I recently, God, I need to put WD-40 on that so it moves a little smoother. I recently went to a place where there's a river, and I saw dragonflies. Not today, but not longer than a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, I suppose. I don't know. Recently, went to a place where there was a river. I saw dragonflies like flying around. The dragonfly and the pansy. Let's see what's the bloody number on there? XLV11. I mean, how am I going to find that? XLV11? What's that going to be? XLV111. Roman numerals, after all. This card means balance. Perching with a delicate grace, the dragonfly is a symbol of balance. Nimble and attuned as a dancer, it moves effortlessly through the air, shifting direction with ease. Pansies are named for the French word pensée, meaning thought, and they were given by the Victorians as tokens of thoughtfulness. Together, the dragonfly and pansy indicate a harmony of thought and action. It does say upright in reverse, actually, and it did come out reversed. It did come out this way up. Upright, it would say, like a dragonfly hovering above water, you're healthy and confident, your physical skill is matched by your mental and emotional strength. But in reverse, it says you've stumbled into an unhealthy obsession. Recall the way a dragonfly shifts direction with ease and aim for the nimbleness of thought. I mean, this is my card for Nikki. Like, to speak, not of me and my stuff, and not of Peter Faulding and that, but for Nikki. And in reverse, it would say you've stumbled into an unhealthy obsession. Recall the way a dragonfly shifts direction with ease. Aim for the same nimbleness of thought. Is my attention shared among my various interests and endeavours, or do I tend to favour just one? Am I satisfied by how I spend my time and energy? How can I build more balance into life? Ultimately, like, if you just went on that, and you know, there's a strong feel, isn't there, still to be thrown towards the idea that Nikki was finding her own balance in her life through her own endeavours, and was maybe not happy with her, you know, her home life. But there are indications. I was going to say there are no indications of that other than what I've just done on the cards, but of course there are. You've got the police being called round that a couple of weeks before, haven't you? I don't know whether to take it as reverse, because I instinctively said there's no reversing it here, I'm turning it the right way up. But either way. I suppose it wouldn't make sense the right way up, would it? Like, you know, Nikki is obviously dead. Like, rest in peace. Not that she can until justice is done, but... Say justice is done. I mean, I don't know, do I? Like, maybe justice will never be done in inverted commas, but, you know... I do get a sense that as much as we enjoy the mystery, if it was you that was dead in the river, you would also want people to know the truth. That's ultimately what it's all about. I will happily bow to.